Hi there. Welcome to Sisters for Fi, where the FI stands for Financial Independence. My name is Catherine Agapjan, and here at Sisters for Fi, we help you manage your money better so that you can live a life of impact today and tomorrow. As part of our socially conscious Fi series, today we are going to talk about war. And specifically, we are going to go through some tools to help you review if your investments are invested in the war machine. A big question we have to ask ourselves is who profits from war? And the answer might surprise you. The majority of us actually profit from war. This is because pension funds and many retirement funds directly or indirectly invest in companies that support war, whether they are manufacturing weapons or equipment or providing military contracts. And during wartime, most of these companies normally will benefit well, and this means our investments will also get padded by the profits of these companies. And that in turn means those investments pad our investments and, of course, the future of our money. If you want to learn more about what your money is invested in, the first thing we can do is to look at your investments. And there are tools you can use out there to review your investments. A big one is called Weaponfreefundsorg, which has a database of mutual funds and ETFs and scores and rates them based on their exposure to war companies or companies related to the manufacturing of weapons for wars, companies that provide military contracts and equipment for countries, and so forth. I will show you these tools in a few minutes so you can also learn how to use it and see how you can change your investments or move your money around to invest in other things that are in line with your values. Once you know what your investments are made up, you can then consider divesting, which means selling existing assets and reinvesting in new investments that you want as part of your portfolio. Now, divesting is not as easy and straightforward as we'd like to think, partly because much of our retirement investments and portfolio are tied to larger pensions or larger mutual funds and ETFs that do invest in these kinds of companies. So, if divestment is not an option for you, what you can do is just make sure you reach out to your pension fund manager, your mutual fund managers, even HR, and let them know that divesting is important to you. Let them know that your values want to be considered with the investment process. If you are investing on your own or have a separate investment portfolio that you manage yourself and can decide what to invest in, you can, of course, look at alternatives for your investment portfolio that does not invest in these companies that support the war machine. Use to review your investments and to figure out how it rates based on certain criteria is to head to weaponfreefunds.org. It is a database of mutual funds and ETFs that have been rated and scored based on specific value criteria. Now, this one for weaponfreefunds.org is specifically for weapon investments, and they also have other tools for fossil fuel, deforestation, and so forth. These tools are run by a company called You Sow. They are an organization that promotes shareholder advocacy to get companies to make the change that helps the world. So, what we'll first go through is the search option for weapon free funds. And basically, what you can do is take a look at your portfolio, pull out some of the funds that you are invested in and type them in here and see what you are invested in. So I'm going to specifically choose one here called the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index. It is a low cost index fund that's very popular, very easy to use. And one of the challenges with investing in a low cost index fund is that it is fully diversified, which also means it has exposure to a whole range of industries, including companies that support military contracts and weapons. So VTSAX, the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, gets a D in terms of military weapon grade. And you'll see why. It has 32 holdings of around 2% of its portfolio in major military contractors. It also has 15 holdings of 1.36% of the portfolio in nuclear weapons. And if you scroll down, you will see some of the companies it invests in and the top 5 of those companies, including Honeywell, Raytheon, Boeing, GE, and Lockheed Martin. And we keep scrolling a little bit further. So if you want to see how else this fund rates across other environmental and social issues like climate change, gender equality, and weapon investments, you can see its grade as well here. And of course, you can click through across a tool to learn more about how they do the analysis for this scorecard and what they take into account to provide and give these ratings. If you are able to and can divest from these funds that are not in line with your values and you want new ones for your investment portfolio, is to search for funds that you can invest in. So you can head to their top scoring funds and you can use their search settings to filter out funds that might be in line with your investment goals. And remember that you need to still account for your investment goals and your investment values when choosing the funds that you want to invest in. It's the challenge with investing for the future is that you want to have enough money and still have the kind of world that you want to live in. So here is where we are with the search settings. And of course, you can just toggle between what you're looking for. But let's do exchange traded funds, and perhaps we want to look at funds with specific 1-year returns. And here are some funds that appear for us. These are ones specifically that have an A mark in the military weapons grade. And you can also keep scrolling down and clicking on the particular fund, and you can learn more about what's in investing in, if it's even if has exposure to military weapon categories. So here's an example of one from ClearBridge All Cap Growth ESG ETF, and it has a sustainability mandate. They report it to Morningstar, and they do have an A rating for exposure to military weapon grade. But let's look to the bottom as well to see how they rate across the other criteria for environmental and social issues. And you will see they have a pretty good rating of A and Bs across. Now, if you are going to choose this option for your investments, you just want to do a little bit more research to see, again, if it's in line with your investment goals, understand how much it costs to invest, as some of these funds can be a little bit more costly because they're doing a little bit more work in the background to ensure the fund is in line with their ESG and sustainability goals. So you might be paying a little bit more upfront to make sure the fund meets all the right criteria for sustainability, social, and environmental goals as well. The other area I will point out under weaponfreefundsorg is their methodology. And you head to menu and go to how it works to see their process for how they are using the data to come up with these ratings. Now, this website uses financial data from Morningstar, and Morningstar is an investment research company, and they use that data to analyze the funds and find investments in military weapons, civilian firearms, and so much more. And then they do cover the most popular mutual funds. So it is possible that you might not see a fund if it's not so popular. What you'll probably find is that if you work for a large corporation and you are offered an employer sponsored 401k plan, you'll most likely see some of those popular funds under this umbrella of funds database, and you can decide for yourself if that's an investment you want to continue using. I think one thing we can agree on is that war leads to a lot of suffering. And we live in a very interdependent world, whether we realize it or are just realizing it now. And even our money that's sitting aside for our future, can be invested in industries, in promoting something that's not really socially responsible. So if you are called to want to move your money around, reinvest in other things, in other industries that are more in line with the future you want to see, I encourage you to do so. And again, this video is part of our Socially Conscious FI series. If you want to learn more about that, you can find the playlist here that I will link, so you can learn more about some of our other videos and other educational tools you can use for yourself. And of course, please leave comments below if there is other tools that you are looking to see or other ways you want to review your investments. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week for a new video. And don't forget to share this video with someone if you learned something or want them to learn something new too. And don't forget to subscribe to Sisters for Fi, where we help you manage your money so that you can live a life of impact today and tomorrow. I will see you next week. Bye.